Reflectors Part 2. So it's, as I have mentioned earlier, it's a bit hard to talk about reflectors because you don't meet many of them in life, and whatever information you can get, you usually get them from books. You get them from it's a dry information, and because reflectors are so different from all of us, they actually feel different. When I meet a reflector, I'm like, wow, it feels really different. It's hard to understand or compare what is written to in a book, and then to actually also to explain to a real life person how does it feel, or what does it feel being a reflector. So reflectors are only 1% of population, and the difference between reflectors and all other types is that reflectors follow the lunar cycle. So if we follow the sun, their mechanics, it's nothing they can do about it. Their mechanics is still to follow the lunar cycle. And that's why these people can be surprised, or they are surprising because that's their strategy, to be surprised, or they're not self to be disappointed. They are surprising as people as well, because if you think about moon, and even during the day the moon can change the phase. Of course every day it's a different phase of the moon. They can bring different aspects of themselves out, and it's not something they're in charge or in control. If you think, the transits of the moon as well affect them so much. So if today you're talking to a person and you have a particular impression, or you have a particular vibe that you get from this person, tomorrow it might be quite different. And they bring as much, from my personal observation, they bring as much as what environment they're in. Like, they also reflect that environment. So, if it's a cheerful, like kind of happy place, has a happy vibe, the reflector will reflect it. If maybe, the place is a bit stagnating, and maybe it's full of generators who are not happy and they are frustrated, and the environment will feel like this, reflector will also show it. So what you see from a reflector, it's not really his personal. Also the moon transits and the moon effect, this is just, you can see if it's maybe a full moon, let's say, or if it's a new moon where there is no energy, you can see it on this person. Either they are too excited or too stimulated or too energized, or they have no energy and they're down, and that's just, again, not them, and it's the transit that goes through them. When we look at the chart of a reflector, it feels like they're very vulnerable and open. And from my personal experience, their mind is quite strong, and that Teflon aura, as they describe it, you can see it in their mind. So whatever like is thrown at them or comes at them, it's still reflected back, or can be thrown back or reflected back by their mind. So you can see it's not so easy to penetrate the mind of a reflector. They keep thinking the way they are thinking, which quite often, let's be honest, can actually come from their open centers. So sometimes when you hear the mind of the reflector, is basically all of his open centers. You can hear it. And for reflectors, maybe more than for other beings, it's very important to find time to stay on their own, to be by themselves, so that they are not stimulated, they are not energized, they are not charged with all the energies of people around them. I think those moments of solitude, I have heard from most reflectors that they really enjoy nature, because of this lunar cycle connection. They are still, I think, much more close to the nature than all other types. And they feel comfortable and they feel very, very drawn to like staying in the nature for days and maybe, you know, sleeping outside, like somewhere in the environment where they feel comfortable. They are very easygoing in terms of staying indoors or outdoors, at least those reflectors that I met. And if the environment feels right, like that's where they would like to stay or have rest. And so when they are in the nature, I think this is where they feel themselves the most. Otherwise, to be honest, whenever they're around people, they keep reflecting, they keep being stimulated by the energies of other people, even if they're happy to do so, but still it's not really, really them. When dealing with a reflector, the advice I can give you is give them more time, because a lunar cycle is 28 days, right? So even if some idea is exciting for them, even if they jumped on something you suggested and they said, yeah, I absolutely love it, it's going to be so great, like they are already getting that excitement and surprising part of the things, because the moon will change, and after 28, 30 days, the things will happen. They might it might affect how they actually feel or how the things will come out or the way it will come out. So in order to avoid disappointment of reflectors and your disappointment in situations with them, give them more time, especially for important things. They need time to make their decisions. Don't rush them into things, and let them surprise you, because they are here to be surprised. But also, what I noticed, they are here to surprise us all. So things suddenly and spontaneously happen to them, and they can actually bring this spontaneous and surprising part to you, and they can come up and suggest something and then see how you react according to your strategy and authority. And keep maybe discussing with them for a while whatever you are planning with them, just to see how that turns out and how they feel about it after a period of almost a month. But also, from what I noticed, things happen quite fast with reflectors, maybe because what we don't see is that they already went through this period and they're kind of ready, and then things just like they just click and they just happen. And they can be either surprised with it or they can be disappointed. I think from all the open centers, they can build up a lot of expectations. Every open center tells them how things can be, and the way they are in reality can be quite different. If you have something else suggesting about reflectors, if you have your own experience, if you are a reflector, I will so much appreciate if you leave a comment and share how it is for you. Because honestly, during the course of life, how many reflectors do we all meet? How many of them live according to their true self? How many of them are ready to share? So any bits and pieces of information that I keep receiving are very, very precious to me. I will be very, very thankful if you share.